Bruno Mars officially expands the romantic tour into 2027 with Australia, New Zealand, Asia, and Mexico dates. Bruno Mars has just taken the romantic tour to an entirely new level, and fans around the world now have a much bigger reason to start planning for 2027. The global superstar has officially expanded his massive The Romantic Tour with a major new run across Australia, New Zealand, and Asia, while also adding an extra Mexico City performance because of overwhelming demand. And this time, Bruno Mars is not traveling alone. Joining him for the newly announced Australia and New Zealand shows are two major names from completely different corners of modern music: Grammy-winning South African superstar Tyla and Bruno's longtime collaborator, Anderson Paak, performing as his legendary DJ P. We Persona. This is not simply another group of concert dates. This is the romantic tour becoming an even bigger global stadium phenomenon. And if you are a Bruno Mars fan, a Tyla fan, an Anderson Paak fan, or simply someone waiting for the biggest concert tours of 2027, this announcement could be one of the most important live music stories of the year. Before we go any further, make sure you subscribe, turn on notifications, and leave a comment telling us where you want Bruno Mars to perform next, because the scale of this tour expansion is something you are going to want to keep track of. The announcement comes as Bruno Mars continues his blockbuster stadium journey with the Romantic Tour, a tour that has already generated extraordinary demand around the world. According to official tour and ticketing information, the newly announced 2027 expansion includes 26 new stadium shows across Australia, New Zealand, and Asia, while an additional 5th Mexico City concert has also been added at Estadio GNP Seguros. That Mexico City performance is scheduled for December 11th, giving fans another opportunity to experience Bruno Mars live in one of the most important Latin American markets for the superstar. And that extra Mexico date tells an important story. This is not simply Bruno adding random dates to a calendar. Demand is driving the expansion. The Romantic Tour has already made headlines for extraordinary ticket sales, including a reported 2.1 million tickets sold in a single day, setting a Ticketmaster record. The tour also generated the largest single-day ticket sales in Live Nation history across North America, Europe, and the United Kingdom. Now, the tour is moving deeper into 2027, and the journey begins with Japan. Bruno Mars is scheduled to open his 2027 run in Japan in January, with performances in major cities including Nagoya, Sapporo, Saitama, Osaka, Fukuoka, and Tokyo. The Japan schedule includes 2 nights at Tokyo Dome, continuing Bruno's remarkable relationship with Japanese audiences. Then comes the moment Australian fans have been waiting for. The Romantic Tour officially reaches Australia on February 13, 2027, when Bruno Mars takes over Optus Stadium in Perth. From there, the Australian schedule becomes a stadium celebration. Bruno will perform 2 nights at Melbourne's Marvel Stadium on February 19th and February 20th. Then the tour moves to Brisbane, where Bruno is scheduled to perform at Suncorp Stadium on February 28th. After Brisbane, the superstar heads to Sydney for 2 huge performances at Accor Stadium on March 4th and March 5th. And then the Australian chapter gives way to New Zealand. On March 13th, Bruno Mars will take the Romantic Tour to Auckland's iconic Eden Park. That means fans across Australia and New Zealand are not getting a small promotional run. They are getting a full-scale stadium tour. And there is another reason these shows are already generating so much attention. Tyla is coming with him. The South African superstar, who has become one of the most recognizable young artists in global pop and Afrobeats, will join Bruno Mars as a special guest across the Australia and New Zealand dates. Tyla brings an entirely different energy to the lineup. Her global breakthrough transformed her from a rising South African artist into an international pop phenomenon, and her presence alongside Bruno creates one of the most intriguing artist pairings of the Romantic Tour. Bruno Mars represents decades of pop, R&B, funk, soul, and showmanship influences brought together into one spectacular live performance. Tyla represents the new global generation of Afropop and contemporary pop. Put those 2 artists on the same stadium bill, and suddenly the opening moments of the concert become an event of their own. But then there is Anderson Paak. And this is where things get even more interesting. Anderson Paak will perform as DJ P.We on the newly announced shows. For Bruno Mars fans, that name carries enormous significance. Bruno Mars and Anderson Paak are already one of the most celebrated musical partnerships of the modern era through Silk Sonic. Their chemistry has produced a distinctive blend of soul, funk, R&B, and classic performance style that has become one of the defining sounds of their collaboration. Now, Anderson Paak returns to the stage alongside Bruno as DJ P.We, and that means audiences are not simply buying a Bruno Mars concert ticket. They are potentially walking into an entire night of music built around artists who understand live performance at the highest level. Imagine the atmosphere. The stadium lights go down. Thousands of fans begin screaming. The opening music starts. Anderson Paak appears as DJ P.We, immediately changing the energy inside the stadium. Then Tyla brings her global sound to the stage. And eventually, the lights shift. The anticipation rises. The stage transforms. And Bruno Mars appears. That is the kind of concert experience the Romantic Tour has been building toward. But there is an even bigger story hiding underneath this announcement. The Romantic Tour is no longer simply a tour supporting an album. It has evolved into a massive global stadium era. The tour is now scheduled to span more than 115 stadium shows across North America, Europe, the United Kingdom, Asia, Australia, New Zealand, and Mexico. Think about that number for a moment. More than 115 stadium performances. That puts the Romantic Tour into a completely different category. This is a global concert machine moving from continent to continent, city to city, stadium to stadium. And Bruno Mars is doing it after returning to headline touring on a major scale. The timing is especially significant because the Romantic Tour represents Bruno's first major headline tour in nearly a decade. Rather than returning quietly, Bruno came back with one of the most ambitious live campaigns of his career. The demand has been enormous. The music has continued to dominate streaming platforms. And the live performances have become the centerpiece of this new Bruno Mars era. Songs from the Romantic, including I Just Might and Risk It All, have become major parts of the current Bruno Mars story. I Just Might became Bruno's 10th #1 single, while Risk It All reached #1 on the Billboard Global 200 and Billboard Streaming Songs chart, according to official tour information. And this is where the Australia and New Zealand announcement becomes even more significant. The Romantic Tour is bringing not only Bruno's greatest hits, but also the next chapter of his career to massive audiences. Fans can expect the combination that has defined Bruno Mars for years. Powerful vocals, live instrumentation, elaborate choreography, old-school showmanship, funk-inspired arrangements, romantic ballads, massive pop anthems, and moments designed specifically for stadium audiences. From Just the Way You Are to Locked Out of Heaven, from Treasure to 24K Magic, from Uptown Funk to his newer material, Bruno has built a catalog capable of carrying an enormous stadium production. And then there is the mystery surrounding what could happen when Anderson Paak is involved. Because anyone familiar with Bruno Mars and Silk Sonic knows that these two performers have an instinctive chemistry. They know how to create moments. They know how to build anticipation. And they know how to turn a concert into something that feels bigger than a standard performance. Now add Tyla to that equation. Suddenly, Australia and New Zealand are receiving a lineup that combines three major forces from contemporary global music: Bruno Mars, Tyla, and Anderson Paak as DJ P.We. That combination alone could make these shows some of the most talked about concerts of 2027. But wait, because the Asia expansion is just as important. After the Australia and New Zealand run, the Romantic Tour heads back into Asia. The official schedule currently lists 4 nights at Singapore's National Stadium beginning April 13th. Bruno will then travel to Bangkok for 2 performances at Rajamangala Stadium on April 24th and April 25th. After Thailand, the tour moves to Taiwan for 2 shows at Kaohsiung National Stadium on May 1st and May 2nd. Then comes Hong Kong. Bruno is scheduled for 4 performances at Kai Tak Stadium on May 7th, May 8th, May 11th, and May 12th. After Hong Kong, the tour continues to Manila. The Philippines will receive 2 performances at Philippine Arena on May 15th and May 16th. And the Asian leg continues into South Korea. Bruno Mars is currently scheduled to perform 3 shows at Goyang Stadium on May 21st, May 22nd and May 25th, followed by another performance on May 26th. That is an extraordinary run of stadium dates. And the final destination currently listed for this massive 2027 expansion is South Korea. So while fans are focusing heavily on Australia, New Zealand and the additional Mexico City date, the bigger picture is that the Romantic Tour is becoming one of Bruno Mars' largest international concert campaigns ever. And now, here is where things become really interesting. The Australia and New Zealand shows have a specific combination that fans cannot get everywhere. Tyla is confirmed as the special guest for those dates. Anderson Paak is confirmed to appear as DJ P.We. And Silk Sonic is also listed for a special performance in the Australia and New Zealand tour information. That detail alone has fans wondering just how much of the show could be different from the standard Bruno Mars set. Because when Anderson Paak and Bruno Mars share a stage, there is always the possibility of something unforgettable. Of course, fans should wait for official confirmation before assuming exactly what songs will be performed or what surprise collaborations might happen. But the ingredients are already there. Bruno Mars, Anderson Paak, Tyla, Silk Sonic, a massive stadium, and thousands of fans. That is more than enough to create an extraordinary night. The ticket rush will also be something to watch. For Australia and New Zealand, the artist presale is scheduled for September 2nd, with registration required ahead of time. General public sales are scheduled to begin September 4th, with specific times varying by market. The official Bruno Mars tour website and authorized ticketing platforms remain the safest sources for exact ticket information. That warning matters because enormous demand often brings unauthorized resale activity, fake ticket listings, and misleading social media advertisements. Fans should always verify the venue, promoter, and authorized ticketing partner before purchasing. And if history is any indication, these tickets could move quickly. The Romantic Tour has already demonstrated that Bruno Mars fans are willing to act immediately when tickets become available. The 2.1 million tickets reportedly sold in a single day is not just a statistic. It is a warning of what could happen when another major market opens. Imagine thousands of fans refreshing their screens, ticket queues filling up, stadium maps changing in real time, premium sections disappearing, and fans trying to secure a seat before the entire inventory is gone. That could be the reality when Bruno Mars tickets for the 2027 Australia and New Zealand shows go on sale. And there is one more reason this expansion matters. Bruno Mars has always had a powerful connection with international audiences. His music does not depend on one market. His biggest songs have crossed languages, generations, and borders. His performances are designed around universal elements: rhythm, melody, romance, humor, dancing, and spectacular live entertainment. That is why a Bruno Mars concert can feel just as important in Tokyo, Sydney, Auckland, Singapore, Bangkok, Manila, Seoul, or Mexico City as it does in the United States. The Romantic Tour is built for that kind of global audience. And now the map is getting even bigger. From Japan to Australia, from Australia to New Zealand, from New Zealand back into Asia, from Singapore to Bangkok, from Taiwan to Hong Kong, from Manila to South Korea. And alongside that international expansion, another Mexico City show has been added. The message is clear. Bruno Mars is not slowing down. He is expanding. The 2027 extension is turning the Romantic Tour into a worldwide celebration that could dominate the live music conversation for months. And perhaps the biggest question now is not whether Bruno Mars can sell these stadiums. He already has the numbers to prove that he can. The real question is what happens when the doors finally open. What will Bruno's 2027 set list look like? Will I Just Might become one of the biggest stadium moments of the show? Will Risk It All create another massive sing-along? Will Anderson Paak bring a special DJ P.We segment that becomes one of the night's most unexpected highlights? Could Tyla and Bruno Mars share the stage? Could Silk Sonic make a special appearance that fans remember for years? Those answers will come as the tour approaches. But one thing is already official. The romantic tour is getting bigger. Much bigger. And Australia, New Zealand, Asia, and Mexico are now firmly part of Bruno Mars' next global chapter. For Australian fans, February 13th in Perth will mark the beginning of something special. For Melbourne, February 19th and 20th will bring 2 nights at Marvel Stadium. Brisbane follows on February 28th. Sydney gets 2 nights on March 4th and March 5th. Then Auckland takes the spotlight on March 13th at Eden Park. And after that, Bruno's romantic journey continues through Asia. This is no longer simply an album tour. This is a global stadium era. A Bruno Mars era built around spectacle, musicianship, nostalgia, new music, and the kind of live performance that has made him one of the world's biggest entertainers. And with Tyla and Anderson Paak joining the Australian and New Zealand dates, the 2027 shows have suddenly become even more unpredictable. The countdown has officially begun. Bruno Mars is taking the romantic tour into 2027. Australia is ready. New Zealand is ready. Asia is waiting. Mexico is getting another night. And fans around the world are watching to see just how far this tour can go. So if you are waiting for Bruno Mars Australia 2027 tickets, Bruno Mars New Zealand 2027 tickets, the Romantic Tour Asia dates, Bruno Mars Mexico City tickets, Tyla Tour appearances, Anderson Paak DJ P.We performances, or the latest Bruno Mars Tour news, this is definitely a story you do not want to miss. The Romantic Tour has already broken records. Now it is expanding across continents. And the next chapter could be its biggest one yet. If you enjoyed this update, subscribe to the channel, turn on notifications, and leave your thoughts in the comments. Would you travel to see Bruno Mars, Tyla, and Anderson Paak together? Which city should Bruno add next? And most importantly, what song do you absolutely need to hear live during the Romantic Tour? Because Bruno Mars has made one thing very clear with this announcement. The romance is not ending anytime soon. It is going global again. Bruno Mars The Romantic Tour 2027 extension continues to raise global excitement. The announcement of Bruno Mars 2027, The Romantic Tour extension has already changed the conversation surrounding the superstar's next chapter. What initially looked like another continuation of a major world tour has quickly become something much larger. Australia, New Zealand, Asia, and Mexico are now part of the expanding map, giving millions of Bruno Mars fans another opportunity to see one of the world's most celebrated live performers on some of the biggest stages on the planet. And the timing could not be more important. Bruno Mars has spent years building a reputation as an artist whose concerts are not simply concerts. They are full-scale entertainment experiences. Every transition, every costume change, every dance sequence, every instrumental break, and every interaction with the audience contributes to the feeling that fans are witnessing something bigger than a standard pop show. That is exactly why the arrival of the Romantic Tour in Australia and New Zealand is attracting so much attention. The stadiums are massive. The audience expectations are enormous. And the supporting lineup makes the entire experience even more intriguing. Tyla and Anderson Paak are not random additions. They represent 2 completely different musical worlds that fit naturally into Bruno Mars' universe. Tyla has emerged as one of the biggest names in contemporary African pop music, bringing Afrobeats, R&B, amapiano, and modern pop influences to a worldwide audience. Her international rise has been extraordinary. From viral success to major award recognition and global streaming milestones, Tyla has established herself as one of the defining young artists of her generation. Now she is stepping onto the same stadium stages as Bruno Mars. For fans who have followed both artists separately, seeing their names attached to the same concert experience immediately creates curiosity. What happens when 2 different generations of global pop collide? What happens when Bruno's classic funk and soul influences meet Tyla's modern Afro-pop sound? And could the combination create a completely different atmosphere before Bruno even begins his main set? Those are the questions fans will be asking as the Australian and New Zealand dates approach. But then there is Anderson Paak. His presence makes this story even more special for longtime Bruno Mars fans. Bruno Mars and Anderson Paak have already created a musical identity together through Silk Sonic. Their collaboration proved that retro-inspired soul, funk, and R&B could become a major force in modern mainstream music. The chemistry between the two artists is one of the reasons Silk Sonic became such a cultural phenomenon. And now Anderson Paak is returning to the romantic tour as DJ P.We. That creates another layer of excitement. DJ P.We is not simply a name on the poster. It represents Anderson Paak's ability to turn a DJ set into a full performance. His energy, personality, and musicianship can transform the opening atmosphere of an arena or stadium. For a Bruno Mars audience, that combination could be especially powerful. The crowd enters the stadium expecting a Bruno Mars concert. But before Bruno even appears, DJ P.We can set the tone. Then Tyla can take the stage. And finally, Bruno Mars arrives. It is a three-part build-up designed almost perfectly for a stadium environment. The energy rises. The audience becomes louder. The anticipation becomes impossible to ignore. And then the main event begins. That is the kind of structure that can turn a concert into a memory. But the biggest reason fans are paying attention is the scale of the romantic tour itself. Bruno Mars is not adding a handful of promotional dates. He is extending an enormous international production into another year. The 2027 schedule reaches across multiple countries and major stadiums, showing just how much global demand remains for Bruno Mars live. And there is an important difference between seeing Bruno Mars in a small venue and seeing him inside a stadium. A stadium changes everything. The stage becomes enormous. The lighting becomes cinematic. The screens become part of the storytelling. The audience becomes a sea of lights. And songs that fans have known for years suddenly feel completely different when tens of thousands of people sing them together. Imagine the opening notes of Just the Way You Are echoing through a packed stadium. Imagine Locked Out of Heaven, turning the entire venue into a giant dance floor. Imagine 24K Magic, arriving after an explosive transition. And then imagine thousands of people singing along to Bruno's newest material from the Romantic. That is the real power of a stadium tour. It transforms familiar songs into collective experiences. And Bruno Mars has one of the catalog's most suited for that environment. His music has always been built around memorable hooks. His choruses are instantly recognizable. His performances are highly visual. And his songs often invite audience participation. That combination is exactly what stadium entertainment requires. But there is another factor that makes the 2027 extension so fascinating. Bruno is entering a new phase of his career. The Romantic era represents more than another album cycle. It is an opportunity for Bruno to show audiences what his next generation of live performances can look like. After years of building his reputation through some of the biggest songs in modern pop history, he now has another collection of music to integrate into the concert experience. That means longtime fans get the nostalgia, new fans get the newer songs, and casual listeners get a show filled with familiar hits. It is a formula that can appeal to multiple generations at once. That is one of the reasons Bruno Mars remains such a powerful global concert artist. A teenager discovering his music today may know APT, or I Just Might. A longtime fan may have grown up listening to Grenade, When I Was Your Man, Treasure, That's What I Like, or Uptown Funk. Different generations can walk into the same stadium with completely different favorite songs. But once the lights go down, they become the same audience. And that is what makes a Bruno Mars stadium show so powerful. Now add the international element. Australia has a massive live music culture, and Bruno Mars has a strong fan base there. New Zealand brings another passionate audience. Asia has consistently demonstrated extraordinary enthusiasm for Bruno's music. And Mexico has already shown that demand remains strong enough to justify an additional concert date. The extra Mexico City show is particularly revealing. Whenever an artist adds another stadium performance in a market already included on a major tour, it sends a message. There is still demand. Fans still want tickets. and the promoter believes another night can be supported. For Bruno Mars, that demand is becoming a recurring theme of the romantic tour. The tour has already generated enormous ticket interest. Now the 2027 extension is giving international fans another chance. And that opportunity could become extremely competitive. Fans will not only be competing with other concertgoers. They will also be competing with people traveling internationally for the shows. A Bruno Mars concert in Sydney could attract fans from other Australian cities. The Auckland performance could attract fans from across New Zealand. The Singapore dates could bring audiences from neighboring Asian countries. And Mexico City could attract fans from across Latin America. That is how a global tour becomes more than a series of concerts. It becomes a travel destination, a cultural event, a bucket list experience, and for some fans, a once-in-a-lifetime opportunity. This is also why ticket announcements create so much online activity. The moment official ticket information is released, social media fills with questions. How much are Bruno Mars tickets? When does the pre-sale begin? Where can fans register? Which seats are best? Will there be VIP packages? Will additional dates be announced? Could Bruno add another city? Those questions can dominate fan communities for days. And the demand can become even stronger when major special guests are announced. Tyla gives the Australia and New Zealand shows a unique identity. Anderson Paak gives them another connection to Bruno's musical history. Together, they make these dates different from simply another stop on the tour. They become events in their own right. And that brings us to one of the biggest unanswered questions. Could Bruno Mars and Anderson Paak create a special Silk Sonic moment during the Australian and New Zealand shows? At this point, fans should separate confirmed information from speculation. The official announcement confirms Anderson Paak's involvement as DJ Pete Wee and identifies the artists joining the Australia and New Zealand dates. But fans should not assume an unreleased setlist, surprise performance, or specific collaboration until Bruno and the official tour team confirm it. Still, the possibility is enough to generate excitement. Because Bruno and Anderson have already demonstrated what happens when they share a stage. Their chemistry is undeniable. Their musical instincts are complementary. And their understanding